I've been playing offlane for a while now, and I think I'm in a position where I can give out some beginner tips on how to offlane. The offlane is probably one of the most challenging roles, and we joke about how all you do is AFK farm and split push, but there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. With the recent changes in patch 40, I've adapted my offlane slightly, and now no longer do the offlane camp to the start. I find the time I waste doing these camps nets me a loss in XP. If I just sit in lane, irrespective of whether I get last hits or not, I'm going to be leveling a lot faster. I will do my offlane camps later in the game once I have damage, but I also allow my jungler to take them as well, since I won't necessarily be doing them in the early stages of the game, and ideally you don't want the camp to sit as a 5-stack. As an offlaner, health is the most valuable resource, and with it being harder to kite the minions, you're definitely going to find it more difficult to maintain a good amount of health, which is also another reason why I don't start with the Offlane Jungle. As an offlaner, your main focus is to soak up XP. You want the level advantage rather than the CP advantage, so spending so much time in lane getting XP from the wave should be your priority. You will ideally hit level 5 before the enemy duo, providing a window where your allies can gank. If all you end up doing is sitting and farming and watching the enemy duo last hit while you're getting XP, so be it, that's worth it, and your time to farm CP will come later. A common strategy for a duo lane is to freeze the wave at their tier 1, which means you have to sit a little bit higher just to be within XP range. Ideally you want to break the freeze. You can hit the enemy minions and let the enemy team hit you. Once they hit you, your minions will aggro onto them while their minions are still killing your minions. Your minions will therefore die faster, and so the wave will push back towards your tower or closer down the lane, so you can soak up XP while being a lot safer. A few key times that you need to be aware of. At 3 minutes the river buff and gold buff spawns. You want to try and steal the gold buff if possible, but it's not worth dying for. At around 3:10 you should anticipate a gank from the enemy jungler. If you have no vision at this point, you want to back up, return to base, or go do your jungle camps. If the wave is already near your tower, you can of course just stay. At around 5:30 is usually when the tier 1 tower will fall. Your tower no longer has the bonus protection, so you want to back the fuck up and let it fall. You never want to die for your tier 1 because this can quite easily snowball into you losing a tier 2. Once your tower has fallen, it's now your time to get CP. You ideally don't ever want to freeze as an offlaner. You want to constantly force pressure on the map, but if you're really far behind on farm, freezing might be a good idea. As you can see on Shimby, I just push the wave into the enemy tower and take their tier 1. We lose Raptors for it, but even before the enemy went Raptors, FaZe was dead and Seraph eventually got caught, so rotating to Raptors would have been pointless. When I'm playing with my comp team, we'll almost never contest Raptors as 5, only as 4, with the offlaner, which is myself, always applying pressure elsewhere on the map. Unless the wave is shoved right into their tower and they've sent someone to defend it, do we ever take Raptors as 5. Depending on the type of hero you're playing, you need to adapt your playstyle. Heroes like Greystone and Fengmao are fantastic split pushers. Shimby is great at 1v1s, and Steel and Aurora are much better in teamfights, so choosing where to be and when is really down to you, the hero you're playing, and how your game is going. If there's enough interest though, I'll cover this part in a future video. I want to break down some of my gameplay so you can see why I do what I do. In this clip I've pushed my left wave up pretty far and Morigesh is on the left lane. I could 1v1 her, but at the same time I'm confident that we can get a pick and take Raptors without losing our tier 2, so I do just that. The fight was a bit messy, but we eventually get the Revenant and then are able to secure Raptors off that. Meanwhile, all that Morigesh did was sit and farm. She didn't even attempt to push the lane, and that is why you can never freeze as an offlaner. You always need to push. Morigesh is pretty useless at this, and hence why she's not really an offlane hero. With all prime being up, you don't want to stray too far from it, as showing on the other side of the map could very well be a free orb for the enemy team. So once I grab the invis buff, I look for an engagement. I would instantly go on Revenant, but he ults, so the next best is FaZe. Hollow lands a great ult and we attempt to finish her off, but the blind lets her live, or so she thinks, as I use my ultimate to finish her off. Now I'm looking for the enemy carry. As an offlaner, you want to be engaging the enemy carry, especially on a hero like Feng or Shimby. I don't really find the opportunity as of yet, but you can bet that the next team fight I'm looking for him, and that's exactly what happens. As their Sevrong engages, there is now no peel for Revenant as FaZe is dead, so he has to blink to get out, but we can easily finish him off, and with the carry dead we have a huge advantage. I don't really want to highlight moments where I was just split pushing, but you better believe that there are times where my team are fighting and I'm just split pushing hard. I think getting an early tier 2 is so worth it because it creates more space for your team while restricting the enemy, so buying time for your offlaner to split push is vital. I hope this gives you a small introduction into the offlane. The basics are pretty simple: soak up XP and use that level advantage, like going aggressive on the enemy carry when the support is missing or even when they're right there. Focus landing last hits as much as possible. It's not vital at the start, but once your tier 1 falls, every last hit is crucial. Apply as much pressure on the map and create more space for your team. Split push those towers hard when your team are fighting, but also rotate when they need you. I often don't rotate unless I'm told to by my shot caller, but in solo queue you will have to rotate a lot more. Smash that thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video, subscribe for all the latest Paragon content, and until next time guys, peace.